All right, 3.3, operations with logarithms. So these are just the rules of logarithms. And they're actually pretty simple. So let's say, well, first of all, remember a logarithm is just an exponent. Well, what do I mean by that? So remember in the last video we said, hey, you know what, if you have like, let's say we have a to the power of x equals b, whatever those numbers are, it doesn't really matter. We could rewrite this as log base a of b equals x. So this logarithm is x. It's the exponent, okay? I mean, I know this looks a little crazy, but I could write this as a to the log ab equals b, because this whole thing is equivalent to x, and x is up there. So since this is an exponent, it follows the rules of exponents, okay? And one of the rules of exponents is when you're multiplying bases, you can add the exponents. So here, if we're adding the exponents, that means it's the same thing as multiplying these values on the inside together. So that's all there really is to these rules, right? So we just treat them like we do exponents. So if we say log of base bm plus log base b of n, and the bases match, then we can write that as log same base and whatever m times n is. Now, some people get confused and they think, okay, that means if it's adding, you can separate it and multiply it as 2. No, this isn't true. That's why I wrote not, and it's not equal, so this is not the rule. So some people confuse those two rules. No, it's when we're adding the two logarithms together, not the two things inside the logarithm. When we're adding the two logarithms together, we can multiply on the inside. In the same way, if we're subtracting logarithms, that means we can divide on the inside. But again, people will try and tell you, they'll try and think that if I'm minusing on the inside, that means this. That is not what that means. It's just if we are subtracting one logarithm from another, then we can write it as one logarithm with us dividing these values on the inside. Okay, and there's one more thing. Remember that when we did an exponent to an exponent, we would say, oh, you could just multiply the exponents. Well, that's true as well, because if I have an exponent to an exponent, see how I'm raising this log to the power of n? That's the same thing as multiplying these two things. So if I start off with a number over here, I can move it as my exponent. With some practice, you'll see what I mean here. So let's practice a couple problems. First one says log of 4, log of 3. Now these are both common logs, so the bases are the same. They both are technically a base of 10. And so that means I can write this as log of 4 times 3, because I'm adding the whole logs together. That means I can rewrite this as the log of 4 times 3. Well, what is 4 times 3? It's 12, so this is the log of 12. And that's all there is to it. Pretty simple, right? So I want you guys to go ahead and try the practice number 1. Pause the video and check back with me when you're done. Okay, so we have a log 5 plus log 7. That means we can write it as log 5 times 7. And 5 times 7 is 35, so log 35 would be my answer. All there is to it. So now this one is minus. Example number 2 is minus, so that means we are dividing. So I can write this as log of 6 divided by 3. And 6 divided by 3 is 2, so I can just write this as log of 2. Boom. Easy. So go ahead and try this one, log of 8 and log of 2. And then unpause the video when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, so you should have seen that this is log of 8 over 2. And log 8 divided by 2 is 4, so you can just write this as the log of 4. Alright, these last ones have to do with what happens when we have a number out in front. Well, remember the rule. It says if we have some value out in front, that's the same thing as writing that value out in front as an exponent of whatever's inside my log. So let's take a look here. I have a log, it's still just a common log. And this number out in front is a 3, so I should be able to take this 3 and move it over here. So I could write this as log 5 to the third power. Well, what is 5 to the third power? 5 times 5 is 25, times another 5 is 125. So I could rewrite this as log 125. And that's all there is to that one. Okay, so I want you guys to go ahead and try practice number 3, and then unpause the video when you're ready to check your work. Okay, so once again, you should have been able to take this 2, move it over here as an exponent, so we could write this as log 3 to the second power. 3 squared is 9, so you could just write this as log 9. All right, that's all there is to it.